Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. Thomas's wedding proposal to Taylor based on Luna's pregnancy test results. According to the bold and the beautiful spoilers for the upcoming 2 weeks, September 1st to 12th, viewers will find out the results of Luna Nozawa's pregnancy test, while Thomas Forrester returns home with a proposal for Taylor Hayes. Carter Walton, who will defend his love for Hope Logan and his wish for a permanent marriage, will square off against Liam Spencer during the week of September 1st to 5th. Liam will not let his guilt for attempting to win Hope's heart to stop him from achieving his goals. Liam will keep looking for a reunion because he has an opportunity to reunite with Hope and Beth Spencer. Ivy Forrester, on the other hand, will set aside her own personal sentiments and encourage Hope to seize this second opportunity with Liam if she so desires. Ivy might point out that Hope's love for Liam is stronger than her love for Carter. In the meantime, Luna Nozawa will be cunning and test positive for pregnancy behind Lee Finnegan's back. Luna will be excited to learn whether she was successful in conceiving a child because she hopes to be pregnant by Will Spencer. According to B&B spoilers, Luna will eventually review the test findings after taking it. Will Luna's pregnancy turn out the way she wants it to, or will it turn out badly and make her change her plans? Taylor will be overjoyed at Thomas's homecoming across town. Thomas may primarily want to know when Taylor's wedding to Ridge Forrester is taking place, since it will also provide him with an opportunity to ask her about it. Given that it would present Brooke Logan with an opportunity to move the reunion along, Thomas might start to worry about Ridge taking too long. Taylor will accept that Eric Forrester wants Brooke and Ridge to reconcile, but she will still feel safe in his love for her. Additionally, Taylor intends to invite Steffy to the wedding and will undoubtedly want Thomas to go as well. Brooke won't appreciate his caution since Thomas will eventually find her at Forrester Creations and tell her not to stand in the way of Ridge and Taylor. Katie Logan, who might advise Thomas to change his attitude, won't either. Brooke will continue to pout during the week of September 8th to 12th, wishing Ridge would stop getting in her way and finally pick her. Brooke will talk to Rana, a socialite customer who wants a Forrester original and an opportunity to gossip as well as Katie. Will Thomas see Hope when he returns to Los Angeles and comment on her tumultuous romantic life? Hearing Thomas's viewpoint on the entire Liam and Carter incident would undoubtedly be interesting. She'll have to decide what to do once she's back with Luna. Luna will continue to be sure that she will make Will her man, regardless of whether she is pregnant Will's child. If Logan is expecting, who is the father, Carter or Liam? According to spoilers for the bold and the beautiful, Carter Walton and Hope Logan will part ways next week. However, Hope's hopes to get back together with Liam Spencer can be derailed if she tests positive for pregnancy. For all the information, continue reading. You already know what's going to happen on B&B. Below are spoilers for the soap opera. Liam Spencer will attempt to prevent his ex-wife from getting married to Carter Walton. Liam isn't going to let Hope Logan go again because a lot has changed since his cancer scare. Bold and beautiful spoilers all point to a Lope reunion coming soon. So poor Carter has no hope. Naturally, as soon as Hope's engagement ring is taken off her finger, she and Liam will complete their reconciliation and get into bed. B&B spoilers. Is Logan expecting a child? Hope Logan won't know who the father is if the rumors are accurate and she receives a positive pregnancy test the following month. Hope won't be able to find out who the father is until many weeks into her pregnancy, but there are some DNA tests that can be completed while the baby is still in the oven. According to teasers for Bold and the Beautiful, if Hope Logan is not careful, she might become pregnant and alone. Additionally, the soap opera will eventually need to address Carter's race. Hope Logan can't possibly pass off a half African American child as Liam Spencer's. B&B spoilers. Does Liam abandon the reunion with Lope? Will Liam Spencer abandon his plans to reconcile with Hope, or will he be content to raise Carter's child? Will and Electra hit the sheets as Ivy acts as Liam and Hope's matchmaker? Ivy Forrester will act as a matchmaker for Liam Spencer and Hope Logan, while Will Spencer and Electra Forrester take a sizzling step. According to teasers for Monday, September 1's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, Electra will confirm that she is prepared for this at the Forrester guest home. Even though it took a while for Electra and Will to align, she is ready to make this bold move and has entire faith in Will. As far as Electra is concerned, Monday's B&B episode will be absolutely amazing since Will and Electra will actually get into bed together for the first time. Unfortunately, Will feel bad about keeping secrets from Electra because he can't get the night he spent with the mysterious woman out of his mind. Will struggle with what he remembers of the incident, even though he won't learn Luna Nozawa was behind the mask just yet. Will is currently dealing with very difficult problems as a result of Luna's serious violation of him. Ivy will speak with Hope privately in the meanwhile and attempt to encourage her to pursue a new future with Liam. Knowing how much Liam loves Hope and still wants to be with her, we'll see Ivy turn into a surprise matchmaker. Ivy had hoped to get back together with Liam herself, but she now understands that Hope still has his heart. According to B&B teasers, Ivy will update Hope on that and encourage her to consider the possibility of a second Liam chapter. Hope, who is engaged to Carter Walton, will grow more and more conflicted as she observes Liam's interactions with Beth Spencer as a father and daughter. Hope is grateful that Liam is a great father and is aware that Beth will always be a part of their relationship. Liam will try his hardest to persuade Hope that they all belong together by focusing on the family element. The Bold and the Beautiful's next 2 weeks, spanning September 1st to September 12th, erupt like a pressure cooker left unchecked as Luna Nozawa secretly takes a pregnancy test in the guest house bathroom, while the weight of her secret night with Will Spencer gnaws at her conscience like a splinter lodged too deep to ignore, her fingers trembling as she clutches the plastic stick, hoping for 2 pink lines that would bind Will to her forever, dreaming of a future where she can rewrite her past. Sins with the soft cries of a baby, but dreading the inevitable storm that will follow when Lee Finnegan, her overbearing aunt with a god complex and a steel trap of secrets, finds out she went behind her back because Lee has her own designs on how Luna's scandal should be managed, whether that means faking deaths as she did with Finn or manipulating narratives to keep the Finnegan-Forrester empire untarnished. Elsewhere, Hope Logan finds herself caught in a spiral of what-ifs as Carter Walton. The man she agreed to marry fights with a quiet desperation to keep her love, even as her heart betrays her in Liam Spencer's presence, the same Liam who has stared death in the face twice over, from a shooting tied to Luna and from a cancer scare that Bill Spencer nearly bankrupted himself to cure, now standing in her kitchen, holding Beth's hand and reminding her, wordlessly and powerfully, that family is the root system she has always reached for when her world wobbles, and Ivy Forrester, once a rival for Liam's heart, now turned reluctant Cupid, steps in to prod Hope toward her former flame, warning her that Carter's love may be steadfast, but it lacks the wildfire Liam ignites in her chest. Across town, Thomas Forrester sweeps into Los Angeles like a storm cloud returning to familiar skies, bringing with him not just his designer sketches, but a pointed question for his mother, Taylor Hayes. When is the wedding? For Thomas has heard whispers that Ridge Forrester, ever the pendulum, between Brooke Logan's golden allure and Taylor's steadfast devotion, is stalling, and Thomas fears that in this hesitation lies danger, a door cracked open for Brooke to slip back in and reclaim her destiny, which Eric Forrester, with his patriarchal meddling and endless belief in Bridge, continues to quietly encourage, much to Taylor's growing unease. Thomas, protective of his mother's fragile happiness, soon finds himself warning Brooke in the sleek halls of Forrester Creations not to meddle, his voice sharp as a blade, while Katie Logan overhears and snaps back, reminding him that Ridge is not a prize to be hoarded by the Forrester siblings, but a man with his own heart. Yet that heart, Brooke laments later over tea with Katie and a socialite named Rana, seems locked in indecision. And the more Ridge delays, the more Brooke aches, plotting in her own subtle way how to tip the scales without appearing to scheme. Meanwhile, the ripples of Luna's deception spread like ink in water. Will Spencer, Still haunted by flashes of that masked night where Luna seduced him under false pretenses, tries to forge ahead with Electra Forrester, who is finally ready to give herself fully to him in a tender, earnest night that should be magical, but is shadowed by his fractured memory and rising guilt. And as they tangle in sheets, he silently compares the softness of Electra's touch to the phantom thrill of that forbidden encounter, unaware that the woman responsible now stares at a pregnancy test in a locked bathroom, whispering prayers for a positive that would force his future to entwine with hers. If the test is negative, Luna's plan to claim may unravel, but if it is positive, a new war will begin. Lee will wage it to contain the scandal. Sheila Carter, strangely redeemed in recent arcs, may insert herself as unexpected ally or saboteur, and Poppy Nozoa may resurface to protect her daughter or exploit her, depending on which side of the truth she lands. In the coming days, as September 8th to 12th looms, Thomas will continue to meddle in Hope's love life, bumping into her at the office and asking in that piercing, almost accusatory way whether she is truly happy with Carter or simply settling because Liam wounded her before, and Hope, cheeks flushing with the weight of half-truths, will say she's fine even as her hand hovers over her stomach in a moment of private fear, because rumors swirl that she, too, might be pregnant, caught in a web where paternity is a question mark that could belong to Carter or Liam. And the soap's writers tease DNA tests, race politics, and late-night tears as she contemplates a future where she could lose both men. Liam, determined not to repeat the mistakes that cost him his marriage, presses harder, showing up for Beth's school events, lingering in doorways with that soft Spencer smile that always melted Hope's resolve, and Carter, sensing the shift, begins to fight back with quiet, romantic gestures, dinners, whispered promises. But his confidence crumbles as Ivy's matchmaking gains traction. Brooke, watching from the sidelines, senses her daughter's confusion and urges patience, while Katie warns that men like Liam rarely change. But the heart wants what it wants, and soon the Lope versus Thope quadrangle. Hope torn between Carter and Liam, Thomas hovering with old wounds, Ivy lurking like a ghost of past affections, spirals into the soap's emotional centerpiece. And in all this chaos, Luna moves like a shadow, sometimes triumphant when the test stick shows a faint line, sometimes panicked when Lee knocks on the bathroom door, sometimes calculating when we'll text her innocently about Electra's new lingerie line, and she imagines the day when her belly will betray their secret to the world, forcing a reckoning in the Spencer and Forrester clans. Bill, furious and protective of his son, Ridge, scheming to keep scandal from derailing Taylor's wedding. Steffy, torn between loyalty to her family and disgust at Luna's methods, and Finn, ever the moral compass, demanding the truth, because in Los Angeles, truth is never buried for long, and every pregnancy, every whispered affair, every stolen kiss becomes currency in the relentless economy of love, betrayal, and legacy that is the bold and the beautiful. As September rolls deeper into its heated fortnight, Los Angeles becomes a crucible of secrets, whispers, and unspoken accusations, with Luna Nozoa's trembling fingers clutching that plastic stick becoming the symbolic matchstick ready to ignite a city of wealth, couture, and carefully maintained facades. For as she stares at the faint pink line that slowly deepens, she realizes her gamble has paid off. Not just a pregnancy, but a tether, a chain that can bind Will Spencer whether he is willing or not. And as her breath catches in her throat, Lee Finnegan knocks once more, her voice icy and suspicious, and Luna stuffs the test into the bottom of the waste basket beneath wads of tissue, unaware that Lee, ever the clinical investigator, has cameras in the hallway and a habit of digging through trash when the stakes are high. Across the hall, Electra Forrester stretches in silken sheets, smiling softly at Will, who lies awake, staring at the ceiling, haunted by flashes of a masked woman's perfume and the faint scratch of Luna's voice whispering promises in the dark. And though he tells himself he is content with Electra's love, his subconscious replays that elicit night in cruel fragments that make him question his own consent and Luna's intentions, while Ivy Forrester, sipping coffee at the Forrester Creations Cafe, leans toward Hope Logan with a conspiratorial smile. telling her that sometimes fate gives second chances, and she'd be a fool not to seize the man who still looks at her as if she hung the moon. Even as Carter Walton strides in, overhearing the tail end, and his jaw tightens because he has fought too hard to be dismissed as a placeholder. Meanwhile, Thomas Forrester, having cornered Brooke Logan in the design room, delivers his thinly veiled threat. "Stay out of my parents' marriage, Brooke," to which Brooke, her voice shaking with restrained fury, reminds him that Ridge chose her more times than he can count, and that love, real love, is not something his mother can secure with wedding plans alone. And later that night, Ridge stands on the balcony of the Cliff House, staring at the waves and the stars, wondering why. Every choice he makes seems to fracture his family further, with Taylor Hayes beside him, her hand on his arm, whispering that they can make this work if only he stops looking over his shoulder for Brooke's shadow. In the background, the soap's tapestry tightens. Hope begins to suspect her late-night nausea isn't just from stress, quietly purchasing her own pregnancy test and hiding it behind a stack of Beth's coloring books, while Liam, emboldened by Ivy's support and his father Bill's quiet backing, arranges a family picnic where Beth draws a crayon picture of Mommy, Daddy, and herself holding hands, a simple image that shatters Carter's heart when he sees it tucked into Hope's purse. Brooke, torn between her daughter's turmoil and her own longing for Ridge, vents to Katie Logan over Chardonnay as Rana, the sharp-tongued socialite client, drops in uninvited to gossip about the Logan sisters' endless triangle and jokes about placing bets on which wedding, Hope's to Carter or Taylor's to Ridge, will implode first. By September 10th, the plotlines snarl. Lee corners Luna with a soft smile and sharp words, asking why she looks pale, asking if she has been drinking, asking why the guest bathroom smells faintly of pharmacy plastic, and Luna, lips quivering, insists nothing is wrong. But her phone vibrates with a message from Will asking to meet. His guilt over Electra gnawing at him like rust on steel, his memory of that night growing clearer with every restless dream. And when he finally meets Luna at Il Giardino, she presses his hand against her still flat stomach and whispers, "You're going to be a father," leaving him cold with a mix of fear, betrayal, and responsibility he never asked for. In parallel, Thomas begins shadowing Hope, not out of romantic longing this time, but out of genuine concern, convinced that Liam is manipulating her through Beth. And when he sees Carter storming out of her cabin one rainy evening, he steps inside to find Hope crying with a test in her hand, the little window fogged from her tears. And though she says nothing, Thomas sees the faintest hint of a line and realizes her future is about to become a tabloid headline if the timing isn't managed. Ridge, sensing the house of cards wobbling, calls a family summit. But instead of resolving anything, it erupts. Bill accusing Thomas of gaslighting, Steffy demanding to know why Liam is pursuing Hope while her own marriage crumbles from Luna's collateral damage, Sheila, appearing on the fringe like a dark angel offering to fix things if only someone will let her, and Ivy, now a self-appointed oracle of love, telling anyone who will listen that the only way out of this mess is to return to the roots. Liam with Hope, Ridge with Brooke, Thomas in therapy, and Luna gone. But Luna, clutching her positive test, refuses to vanish, telling herself that this child will give her purpose, that will forgive her methods when he holds their baby, that Lee will bend or break, but cannot erase her this time. And as the city sleeps, her resolve hardens. She will outplay them all, even if it means turning the Spencers against the Forresters, the Logans against each other, and herself into the most notorious mother-to-be Los Angeles has ever whispered about. By the time mid-September's air thickens over the Forrester estate, the once gilded corridors now feel like a maze of conspiracies, as Luna Nozoa begins executing her quiet, calculated siege upon Will Spencer's life, setting clandestine meetings in dimly lit corners of Il Giardino, sending cryptic messages that pull him further from Electra Forrester's warmth and deeper into a spiral of suspicion and dread. For the young Spencer heir, still haunted by the ghostly memory of that masked night, cannot escape the echo of Luna's whispered claim. "You're going to be a father. a revelation that burrows into his chest like a parasite feeding on trust. While Electra, blissfully unaware, begins sketching baby clothes in her design book, dreaming of a future that might already be poisoned. At the same time, Lee Finnegan, ever the puppet master of medical morality, grows relentless, her steel-heeled footsteps echoing through the Forrester guest house as she monitors Luna's every move, certain. Now that a test has been taken, certain that her niece has crossed a line, and already drafting contingency plans, perhaps a quiet trip overseas, perhaps a staged miscarriage, perhaps even a whispered deal with Sheila Carter, whose newfound redemption streak makes her a dangerous wild card. Across town, Hope Logan's hands shake as she hides her own pregnancy test result in the bottom drawer of her nightstand, the faint positive still too fresh to face, torn between Carter Walton, who's steady. Love and future promises represent safety, and Liam Spencer, whose history, fatherhood, and maddening magnetism pull her like gravity toward old mistakes and familiar comforts. And as Ivy Forrester, with a guilt-laden heart, continues to push her gently toward Liam, using Beth's smiles and Liam's lingering looks as evidence, Carter begins to notice the cracks: late-night texts unanswered, a distant stare during romantic dinners, a hand protectively over her stomach as if guarding a secret too. Heavy to share, Thomas Forrester, now back in full force, moves like a storm front through the Logan Forrester battlefield, his loyalty to Taylor Hayes making him bold enough to confront Ridge over delays and Brooke over manipulations, telling his father point-blank that every day he hesitates is another day Brooke reclaims her crown, and Ridge, weary of the tug-of-war, begins to confide in Steffy Forrester, who herself is unraveling under the weight of shin fractures, Luna's shadowed crimes, and the ever-present whisper that Liam, once her near savior, may soon belong to her rival again. Meanwhile, the Logan living room becomes a war council as Brooke and Katie debate Hope's future, with Rana, the sharp-tongued socialite customer, sipping wine and fanning the flames by suggesting a paternity test could ruin everything. "And don't think race won't matter," she says with a sly glance, reminding them that Carter's child cannot be passed off as Liam's without the entire fashion press. Sniffing Blood by September 12th.